Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Good evening. You're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. Oman Oil Refineries and Petroleum Industries Company announces that a container fire that broke out in Al Fahel Port Refinery and employees were safely evacuated. The Ministry of Environment and Climate Affairs reveals that there is an oily substance in some beaches of the Governorate of Muscat. And the Ministry of Health signs agreements of construction works for 3 new health centers, therapeutic units, and new parkings in the Royal Hospital. Those were the headlines. Now for the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos has sent a cable of greetings to His Majesty King Bhumibol Adulyadej of Thailand on his country's National Day. Dr. Hilal bin Abdullah Al-Hinay, General Manager of Support Services at Oman Oil Refineries and Petroleum Industries Company, mentioned that a fire broke out in Al Fahel Refinery and Naphtha refining unit as a result of an internal blast inside the unit. He said it was contained with the support of team from Civil Defense and extinguishing teams of the company and from Petroleum Development Oman. Employees were evacuated safely. He also said the fire will not affect oil products supplied to Omani market and there was no oil leaks. Thus, there will be no environmental effects as a result of this fire. The Ministry of Environment and Climate Affairs revealed that efforts are exerted to follow up cleaning operations of small oil bubbles that appeared in some scattered locations of beaches of the Governorate of Muscat, in coordination with the Municipality of Muscat and other units. Specimens are currently being analyzed, which were gathered by specialists of the Ministry to determine the oily nature, through which will determine the source of this pollution, in order to take up legal procedures towards it. From initial surveys, it appeared that oil bubbles were concentrated in some limited places and do not constitute any harm or important effects. At a total cost of more than 8.2 million Omani riyals, the Ministry of Health signed agreements to construct 3 new health centers, in addition to projects of dialysis units in Ibri, oxygen treatment in Bosher Health Complex, emergency and accidents in Iski Hospital, and parking lot in Royal Hospital. They were signed by His Excellency Darwish bin Saif Al Mahrabi, Under-Secretary of the Ministry of Health for Administrative and Financial Affairs. The new health center to be constructed will be in Bosher, in the Wilaya of Bosher, in Al-Bashar, in the Wilaya of Adam, and in Asila in the Wilaya of Jalan Bani Buali. Consultancy service agreements were also signed for designing activities for the hospitals of Mahoud in the Governorate of Wusta and Bukha in the Governorate of Musandam, besides 2 new health centers in Wadi Nam in the Wilaya of Ibra and Ras Al Jabal in the Wilaya of Adam. Assigned by His Majesty Sultan Qaboos, His Excellency Dr. Ali bin Masoud Al-Sunaidi, Minister of Commerce and Industry and Deputy Chairman of the Supreme Council for Planning, presided over the conclusion of the ceremony for the 4th edition of His Majesty the Sultan Excellence Award in E-Government Services. 39 government and private institutions presented 70 e-projects to compete with each other to win the prize. The government bodies have competed in 9 categories, for which 3 were won by the Ministry of Manpower, while 2 went for Royal Oman Police. The arbitration committee of the edition recommended to block the award for small and medium-sized enterprises due to the lack of e-excellence requirements. The committee organizing the award focused on a number of procedures to evaluate subjectively and transparently on the participating projects in various stages of the award. The award came to make a complete change into comprehensive e-government. Oman in the 21st Century is a scientific seminar hosted in the U.S. capital, Washington, and reviewed various aspects of Omani-American relations that were developed during previous years. The seminar discussed economic, cultural, and religious axes that reflected Sultanate's experiment in tolerance, religious liberties, history, heritage, geography, economic growth, competitive advantages, and civilizational dimension of the Sultanate. During the 2 days of the visit of Omani Information Delegation, numerous meetings were were held for the interest of information and media infrastructure of the Sultanate. The delegation is being led by His Excellency Dr. Abdul Mun'am bin Mansour Al-Lahsani, Minister of Information. On the third and final day of the delegation visit, the scientific seminar was held and attracted wide participation from thinkers, decision makers, and strategic analysts. The Minister of Information said the seminar tackled three main topics in culture, history, geopolitical, and economic aspects. An exhibition of Islamic heritage was also set up in order to spread culture of tolerance, coexistence, and understanding among different nations, cultures, and religions. And Oman's role is great to widely spread the culture of tolerance and is being embodied in the exhibition which accompanied the seminar. After numerous stages of competition in 8 fields of Al Ru'ya Youth Initiative Awards, 24 winners were announced amidst an atmosphere of interaction in a ceremony that contained various items and scientific innovation exhibition. It was presided over by His Excellency Dr. Mohammed bin Hamad Al-Rumhi, Minister of Oil and Gas, with the presence of a number of their excellencies, the ministers and enthusiasts of this field. It came to highlight intellectual, artistic, and innovative youth achievements, in addition to youth motivation towards further creativity. There were stiff competitions among the participants who showcased the modern innovations, entrepreneurships, and projects which reflected their seriousness in obtaining a high-ranking position at the competition. These projects were invented to last and develop because of their feasibility for modern days. The Ministry of Tourism organized a workshop on the studying project of Omani tourism strategy in the Oman Chamber of Commerce and Industry branch in the Wilaya of Ibra in the Governorate of North Sharqiya in the second phase of introducing study. It was presided over by His Excellency Sheikh Yahya bin Mahmoud bin Hamad Al-Ma'mari, Governor of North Sharqiya. A number of work papers were introduced throughout the workshop focusing on the aims and axes of the study, as well as introducing tourism potentials of the Governorate. The team specialized for studying Omani tourism strategy conducted field visits to a number of tourism sites in the wilayas of the Governorate. Director General of Social Development in the Governorate of Dhahra organized a gathering Omani Volunteering Day with emphasis on the importance of voluntary work and its role in serving society, besides the Municipal Council's role in voluntary work and service of local community utilities. The event was presided over by His Excellency Sheikh Saif bin Himyar Al-Malik Al-Shahi, Governor of Dhahra. College of Technology in Salalah held a ceremony yesterday evening for the graduation of 400 students of 2014 in specializations of commercial studies, engineering, and information technology. It was presided over by His Excellency Sheikh Abdullah bin Saif Al-Mahrouqi, Deputy Governor of Dhofar, who presented certificates for the graduates. Still to come in our news bulletin. The regional seminar to support green production reviews way map toward green economy. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman Television. In continuation with the Sultanate's celebrations of the 44th Glorious National Day, His Excellency Saud bin Ahmed Al-Barwani, Sultanate's accredited ambassador to Iran, hosted a reception ceremony. It was attended by a number of civil and military Iranian officials, businessmen, heads, and members of diplomatic missions and Omani students in Iran. His Excellency Mohammed bin Saeed Al Lawati, Sultanate's accredited ambassador to Uzbekistan, hosted a reception ceremony on the occasion of the Sultanate's celebrations of the 44th Glorious National Day. It was attended by a number of heads of missions and members of Arab and foreign diplomatic corps, as well as academics, journalists, and those who are interested in Omani affairs. A documentary film narrating achievements of the Blessed Renaissance, which is being led by His Majesty Sultan Qaboos, was shown. Celebrating the Sultanate's 44th Glorious National Day, Janab Sayyid Fakhri bin Mohammed Al Saeed, Sultanate's accredited ambassador to Malaysia, hosted a reception ceremony intermitted by popular shows performed by Omani students in Malaysia, where they put up heritage show and traditional dances reflecting Omani folklore and culture. They also showcased photographs that embodied most important achievements realized and what has been reached by the Sultanate of civilizational status. The ceremony was attended by a number of civil and military Malaysian officials, businessmen, heads, and members of diplomatic missions accredited in Kuala Lumpur, in addition to journalists, academics, Omani community, and students in Malaysia. Councillor Sheikh Zakaria bin Hamad Al Saadi, Consul General in Singapore, hosted a reception ceremony on the occasion of the Sultanate's celebrations of the 44th Glorious National Day. It was attended by a number of Singaporean officials, as well as heads and members of Arab and foreign diplomatic missions, businessmen, professors, and a host of journalists and intellectuals. Minister Plenipotentiary Omar bin Mohammed bin Ramadan Al Balushi, charged affairs of the Sultanate's embassy in Bangladesh, hosted a reception ceremony on the occasion of the Sultanate's 44th Glorious National Day. It was attended by a number of government officials, members of Arab and foreign diplomatic corps, and distinguished personalities. Within the Sultanate's celebrations of the 44th Glorious National Day, the Ministry of Tourism held a festival for signing and traditional arts in the celebrations ground in the Wilaya of Mudaibi. It was held in cooperation with the Omani Women's Association in Mudaibi. Various shows were presented, namely horse riding, children competitions, and others, through which they expressed their great feeling for this happy occasion. With the participation of a number of specialists, consultants, and medical team of Family and Society Health and Obstetrics and Gynecology, the National Session for Women and Child Care was organized. The session, which seeks to enhance women and child care in the field of spacing, was held under the auspices of His Excellency Dr. Ali bin Talib Al Hinai, Under Secretary of the Ministry of Health for Planning Affairs, Healthcare for Women and Child in the Sultanate, and reviewed categories of the competition of pregnancy spacing, in addition to the effects of spacing, were highlighted points of discussions in this session. A press conference which was held in Nakhal Fort revealed the works of Nakhal throughout history seminar, which will be held on 9th and 10th of this month. The seminar focused on the archaeology, architecture, and social, scientific, and literature life in this wilaya. A number of lecturers and researchers will be participating in this seminar. The work papers will include strategy and location of Nakhal, in addition to its geology among mountains, fields, and wadis. The press conference also revealed the events, activities, and exhibitions which will accompany this seminar. With the aim of introducing the real roles of club in serving society in the fields of education, sports, and entertainment, the Ministry of Sports Affairs organized training workshop about club's role in serving sports society in the premises of Sports Complex in Khasab, in cooperation with the Ministry of Education, with the participation of a number of concerned bodies. The workshop focused on voluntary work provided by sports club and its role in instilling values and the concept of sports culture related to the club. The works of regional seminar to support green production concluded today with the aim of ensuring sustainable of green support offices and the possibility of continuity of projects and finding financing ways with companies and donors, in addition to reviewing policy guidelines which supported green production sectors and the way map towards green economy in the Arab region. The seminar seeks to exchange experiences among local and regional institutions in the field of green production. Now for the general weather forecast. Clear skies will prevail over the Sultanate with chances of clouds over Hajar Mountains and coastal areas of the governorates of South Sharqiya, Tahira, Bravi, and Wusta. Winds will be southerly to southeasterly light to moderate along the governorate of South Sharqiya, and it will be northerly to northwesterly along the rest of the Sultanate. Seas will be moderate to rough along the coast of the governorate of Dhofar, South Sharqiya, and western coast of the governorate of Musandam, with a maximum wave height of 2.5 meters. Along the rest of the coast, it will be slight to moderate with a maximum wave height of 1.75 meters. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. Oman Oil Refineries and Petroleum Industries Company announces that it contained a fire that broke out in Al Fahl Port Refinery and employees were safely evacuated. The Ministry of Environment and Climate Affairs reveals that there is an oily substance in some beaches of the governorate of Muscat. And the Ministry of Health signs agreements of construction works for 3 new health centers, therapeutic units, and new parking in the Royal Hospital. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios, it's good night.